There is a woman living in a narrow apartment on the edge of Osaka. Every morning, before the sun is fully up, she does something that takes less than 90 seconds. She opens her window, just a crack, just long enough for the air inside to change. Then she wipes down one counter, not the whole kitchen, one counter. Then she walks to the door, straightens the shoes by the entrance, and starts her day. Nothing about this looks impressive. No deep clean, no weekend spent scrubbing baseboards, no elaborate system with labeled bins and color-coded folders. And yet, somehow, her home never seems to spiral into chaos. It never becomes the kind of place that needs a full day just to make it presentable again. Most people live the opposite way. They let dishes wait until the sink is full and the smell starts creeping into the living room. They let laundry pile up until it becomes its own small mountain in the corner of the bedroom, the kind you have to climb over just to get to the closet. They save real cleaning for one exhausting stretch every week or two, and they dread it the entire time leading up to it. Sunday becomes a day they secretly resent, because Sunday is when the bill for 2 weeks of postponement finally comes due. What if the difference has nothing to do with discipline or free time or having a bigger home to begin with? What if it comes down to a handful of small rituals repeated daily that quietly prevent mess from accumulating in the first place? Not one big system, not one dramatic overhaul. Just 15 small decisions, repeated so consistently they stop feeling like decisions at all. In Japan, there's a fundamentally different relationship with cleaning. It isn't about occasional deep cleans. It isn't about expensive tools or fancy products or a garage full of specialized equipment. It's about tiny, consistent actions that stop chores from ever becoming overwhelming to begin with. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why ritual number 8, the one that comes from an unexpected place, is the one people tell me changes their entire relationship with their homes. Before we get into the rituals themselves, it helps to understand 2 ideas underneath all of them. One is called Danshari. It's often translated simply as decluttering, but that translation misses something important. It was introduced by a Japanese author named Hideko Yamashita, and it isn't primarily about throwing things away. It's about refusing to let unnecessary things enter your space in the first place. So there's simply less to clean around, less to organize, less competing for your attention later. Yamashita built her method around 3 simple questions you ask about anything you own. Is it necessary? Is it appropriate for the life you're actually living right now? And is it pleasant to have around? Not necessary 5 years ago, not appropriate for who you used to be. Right now, today, if something fails all 3, it isn't earning its place, and every extra object that fails those questions is one more thing standing between you and a home that cleans itself in minutes instead of hours. It's worth separating this from a related idea you may have already heard of, the KonMari method, developed later by another well-known Japanese organizer, Marie Kondo. The 2 get lumped together constantly, but they aren't quite the same thing. KonMari asks whether an object sparks joy and treats tidying as a single, decisive event you commit to once and follow through on completely. Danshari is less about a single dramatic session and more about an ongoing relationship with your possessions, a habit of continually asking whether something still belongs day after day rather than deciding everything once and being done. Both traditions point in a similar direction. But the daily rituals in this video lean closer to Danshari's spirit because cutting chores in half isn't about one heroic weekend of purging. It's about a habit that never lets the clutter return in the first place. The other idea shows up constantly in Japanese homes, and it's less philosophical and more practical. Little and often beats big and rare. A home that gets a few minutes of attention every single day almost never needs a marathon cleaning session. because nothing is ever given the chance to pile up in the first place. Once mess never accumulates, there's nothing left to dread. With that in mind, here are the 15 rituals worth understanding. The first is the morning window ritual. In Japan, opening a window for a few minutes each morning, even in the cold of winter, is a common daily habit. It isn't about cleaning in the traditional sense of scrubbing or wiping. It's about resetting the air in a room before the day's activity fills it with dust, cooking smells, and the kind of static, stale clutter that builds up in enclosed spaces overnight. Most people only open a window once a room already smells stale, once the problem has already arrived. This ritual flips that sequence entirely. You refresh the air before it becomes a problem, which means there's less buildup, less odor, and less heavy air to deal with later. It costs nothing. It takes 90 seconds, and it changes how a home feels before a single object has been touched. The second ritual is the Genkan boundary. Almost every home in Japan treats the entryway, the Genkan, as a hard line between the outside world and the inside of the house. Shoes come off immediately, without exception, whether you're a resident or a guest. Many homes even build a small, dedicated storage area right at the entrance specifically for shoes, strollers, and umbrellas, so that anything carrying outside dirt never makes it past that first step. This single habit dramatically reduces how often floors need sweeping or mopping because the dirt simply never gets tracked in to begin with. Most homes elsewhere fight dirt after it has already spread across every room, chasing footprints from the front door to the kitchen to the bedroom. Japanese homes stop it at the door before it ever becomes a floor that needs cleaning at all. The third ritual is immediate dishwashing. In many Japanese households, dishes are washed the moment a meal ends, not left to soak, not stacked for later, not saved for whenever motivation returns. This isn't about being extra tidy for its own sake. It's about timing. Food residue that sits for hours becomes crusted, stuck, and far harder to remove than food residue that's rinsed within minutes of the meal ending. Rice hardens onto a bowl within an hour. Oil left overnight turns into something closer to glue. A 2-minute task done immediately replaces what would otherwise become a 15-minute scrubbing session the next day, and that 15 minutes almost always feels heavier than it should, because by then you're not just cleaning, you're also fighting the dread of having put it off. The dishes don't get easier because someone finally feels motivated. They get easier because they were never allowed to sit long enough to become difficult. The fourth ritual is the one thing in, one thing out principle. Before something new comes into the home, something old goes out. A new mug means an old one leaves. A new shirt means an old one gets donated or discarded. This isn't about owning less for the sake of some minimalist aesthetic. It's about making sure the total amount of stuff in a home never quietly creeps upward year after year, because more stuff almost always means more to clean, more to organize, more surfaces competing for space, and more decisions to make later when everything finally has to be sorted at once. The fifth ritual is top to bottom cleaning order. When Japanese households clean a room, they follow a strict, deliberate sequence. Shelves first, then surfaces, then floors last. It sounds almost too obvious to mention once you hear it out loud, but most people clean in a completely random order, which means they end up knocking dust from a high shelf directly onto a counter they had already wiped clean minutes earlier. Cleaning top to bottom means every surface only needs to be touched once, because gravity is working with you instead of against you. The sixth ritual is the daily bathroom dry down. After the last person showers, many households take 1 extra minute, sometimes less, to wipe down the walls and glass using a small squeegee or a dedicated cloth. In the moment, it feels like an unnecessary extra step. one more thing standing between you and getting dressed. But that single minute prevents the slow buildup of mold, mildew, and limescale, which means the difference between a quick daily wipe down and an hour of aggressive, chemical-heavy scrubbing every few weeks. 1 minute now or an hour later. Japanese households consistently choose the minute. The seventh ritual is room-specific slippers. Instead of one pair of house slippers worn from the bedroom to the kitchen to the bathroom and back again, many Japanese homes use different slippers for different rooms, especially a separate pair reserved only for the bathroom. This sounds like a small, almost trivial detail, but it prevents bathroom moisture and bacteria from spreading through the rest of the house on the bottom of your feet, which quietly reduces how often other rooms need to be cleaned at all. And this is the one people tell me they can't unsee once they notice it, because once you understand what those slippers are actually preventing, walking barefoot through your own kitchen after the bathroom starts to feel different. The eighth ritual is the 20-minute daily reset, and it comes from an unexpected place. Japanese elementary schools have an official, scheduled cleaning period built directly into the structure of the school day. It's called Suji no Jikan, cleaning time, and it sits on the daily timetable right alongside math class and reading class, not as a punishment, not as an afterthought, but as a normal, expected part of the day. Students are split into small teams, each one responsible for a specific area, and for about 20 minutes after lunch, they clean their own classroom and shared spaces together, side by side. This isn't something reserved for children who misbehave. It's routine for everyone, every day, and the habit follows people into adulthood, into how Japanese households approach their own homes. A short, scheduled cleaning window every single day, shared by everyone in the space, prevents any single area from ever becoming truly overwhelming, because no mess is ever given more than about 24 hours to sit and grow. The ninth ritual is treating paper as an urgent decision instead of a pile. Receipts, mail, expired warranties, old documents, forms nobody remembers requesting. In many Japanese households, paper gets sorted the same day it arrives instead of being set aside for some vague future moment when there's more time to deal with it properly. Paper feels harmless in small amounts, almost weightless, easy to set down on a counter and forget about entirely. But it multiplies quietly and relentlessly, and a single stack left unresolved for a week can easily become 3 stacks by the following month, each one representing a decision that was never made, sitting there as a small, constant reminder of something unfinished every time you walk past it. The 10th ritual is decluttering by category instead of by room, an approach closely associated with the KonMari method mentioned earlier. It works alongside the daily habits already covered rather than replacing them. Instead of cleaning one room at a time, you gather every item in a single category, clothing, for example, from every closet, every drawer, every forgotten corner across the entire home, and lay it all out together at once. Seeing everything you own in one category, all in one place, makes it far easier to notice duplicates, forgotten items, and honest gaps in what you actually wear versus what you simply own, rather than slowly decluttering room by room and losing momentum somewhere around the halfway mark, the way most people do when a project drags on for weeks. The 11th ritual is the seasonal deep reset, known as Osoji. Once a year, typically in the final weeks before the new year, many households take on one significant deep clean, tackling the places that daily maintenance never quite reaches. Behind large appliances, inside closets that only get opened a few times a year, high corners near the ceiling. Because the daily rituals already handle the surface level mess all year round, this yearly reset ends up far less overwhelming than it would be in a home that skips daily upkeep entirely and treats deep cleaning as the only form of cleaning that counts. The 12th ritual is respecting maintenance cost before buying something new. Many Japanese households ask a simple, almost uncomfortable question before an item enters the home. Not just, do I want this, but am I genuinely willing to clean, maintain, and care for this on an ongoing basis? An item that demands constant upkeep is treated as a bigger commitment than its price tag suggests, because every possession quietly adds invisible, ongoing work, and that small addition of labor compounds over months and years until it becomes its own kind of burden. The 13th ritual is dealing with guilt objects immediately rather than storing them indefinitely. Gifts you never actually liked, souvenirs that no longer fit the life you're living now. Rather than keeping these items out of obligation for years at a time, many people ask a direct question: is this serving me now? Not whether it mattered when it was first given. If the honest answer is no, it gets passed along right away, rather than becoming one more object to dust, store, and quietly feel guilty about for years to come. The 14th ritual is doing laundry in smaller, more frequent loads instead of letting it accumulate into one overwhelming pile that takes an entire afternoon to process. Smaller loads finish washing faster, dry faster, and get folded and put away faster, which means laundry never becomes the kind of task you have to mentally brace yourself for before starting. The 15th and final ritual is the evening reset, a short routine before bed that mirrors the morning ritual it echoes. Surfaces get one last wipe. Items get returned to wherever they actually belong. Shoes are lined up by the door again. The next day begins from a genuinely clean baseline instead of quietly inheriting yesterday's unfinished mess. Stay with me here, because this is where everything connects. None of these 15 rituals taken on their own would be considered a serious cleaning technique. None of them take more than a few minutes. That's the entire point. And it's the part most people miss when they picture a spotless home. Chores don't get cut in half because Japanese households work harder, own better tools, or somehow have more free time in the day than everyone else. They get cut in half because the mess is never allowed to accumulate into something that eventually requires real effort to undo. A 5-minute task done daily will always outperform a 2-hour task done occasionally, because that 2-hour task only exists in the first place because the 5-minute version was skipped over and over until it quietly grew into something much bigger. Think back to the woman in Osaka, wiping down one counter for less than a minute before starting her day. She isn't unusually disciplined. She isn't obsessive about cleanliness, and she isn't spending her weekends scrubbing grout with a toothbrush. She simply never allows small tasks the opportunity to turn into large ones. Every ritual on this list operates on that same underlying logic. Handle it small, handle it now, and it never becomes the overwhelming chore everyone else quietly dreads. So tonight, pick just one of these 15 rituals, not all of them at once, just one. Maybe it's the dishes, done immediately after dinner instead of left in the sink. Maybe it's the shoes lined up neatly at the door the moment you walk in. Maybe it's 5 quiet minutes before bed, simply putting things back where they belong. Start there with one small ritual, repeated tomorrow and the day after that. Because a calmer, easier to maintain home isn't built in one exhausting weekend of frantic scrubbing. It's built in the small decisions you repeat every single day, quietly, almost without noticing, until one day you realize the chores that used to take hours now only take minutes. And the home that used to feel like a burden waiting to be dealt with finally feels like a place you can actually come home to and rest.